So that concludes our housekeeping. And so before I invite Sharon to speak, so this event is entitled Influence and Win at Tech. Now, there is nothing tech specific about Dale Carnegie training. It is universal. It is for all industries. But I just wanted to hear from someone who is especially gifted on the people side of tech, and that person is Nick Boats. I think that's how you say your name. How do you say your surname, Nick?
It's Boetis, but in high school it was Boats. So okay. I respond to anything.
Okay, I hear around the office Boats, Boetis. So Nick Boetis is the head of engineering at Offizen. He manages the various squads, and he's actually my boss, and I've found that he's just extremely gifted at the people side. I don't know about his code. I'm sure it's fantastic, but I definitely know on the people side, he is extremely gifted. So I just wanted to ask to hear from him. I'm just going to ask him a couple of questions. Firstly, Nick, just if you could just give us a brief sketch of like your background. Were you a developer before? How did you get into tech, and what are you doing now?
Cool. Okay. So yeah, nice to meet everyone. It's also my first time here. So yeah, how did I get into tech? When I was small, my brother and sister, they're a bit older than me, and they didn't want to play with me. So I ended up in my dad's garage, working in the workshop, taking things apart and not really putting them back together. And then when I grew up, that sort of led me to the path of engineering. So I did electrical engineering. And throughout that, electrical engineering is always about like power stations from what you think of, and ESCOM. But yeah, it's a lot of software, and it's a lot of using software to do simulations and to create things. So that part of it was just like mind-blowing for me. I thought it was so powerful, and it was a really good means to an end. And from day one out of varsity, I actually just went into a small startup in tech as a developer and started from there.
Okay. And so you're not a developer anymore. What are you doing right now?
Yeah, so, okay, that led me to really care more about, so software is always a means to an end, about creating things, and the problem space actually became more about not just the code you're writing, but the people that are writing it, the processes that those people are following to write it, and to keep doing it in a repeatable way. So that's what I'm doing at Offizen. I'm leading the engineering managers who have their squads, but yeah, really just trying to make sure that we have repeatable and consistent ways of doing things that people can have a good life at Offizen for.
Okay. And so in your travels, what do you think? So you obviously kind of climbed the ladder pretty well. What type of people skills do you think have helped you to do that relative to sort of some engineers who might still be, say, individual contributors right now at your sort of level, at your age?
So yeah, I mean, there's a climb the ladder type of aspect, but there's also a passion, and like it's not the only route to go. And yeah, I think it's completely fine if someone is an individual contributor at this age. It's all good. Like that's what someone wants to do. That's cool. For me, I think there were some aspects of like driving value and identifying value and having the means to create that value. Like that's bigger than myself. Like I can't do it alone. So having a team and being able to use a team in a good way is something that I'm passionate about. So yeah, creating things on a bigger scale.
Wow, I love that phrase you use, that you can't do it alone. You need other people, and also use the word passion. I think that's something that I'm sure Sharon's going to pick up on. That is that people who are here probably already been to that at that point and realized that they can't do it alone. They need other people, and they need to get people on board in order to fulfill their mission to unlock that value in an organization. And that's fantastic. That's something that you've done obviously very well. So let me tell you, at Deep South Dev, there are quite a few people who are at the beginning of their careers, people currently in coding boot camps or graduates. What kind of advice would you give these types of individuals as they start out in their career? They're sort of thinking a lot about the tech and learning full stack development or data engineering, but from the people side, what kind of advice would you give them about things that really might help them to sort of kickstart their careers?
Cool. So yeah, I think maybe just as a mental model to sort of visualize where the advice is coming from. So I think there's something that happens. So we've had some interns before in my previous jobs and that, but it's usually that someone coming into tech is very focused and quite insular in terms of doing coding exercises or just being able to spend time with themselves and the code solving a problem. But when you're joining a company and the greater community, there's broader context there that I think is useful just to understand a bit. So first of all, the company exists because they can't do it alone, and they need to attract people to do things together. And they're also believing that there is this magic when people collaborate. They get together behind a problem and they've got a shared vision that they can find a solution for that. So that environment is really about collaborating a lot. And the company is always trying to create a safe space that collaboration and that sort of creativity can sort of grow. And then a broader context that company exists, in the world, in tech, and there's a lot of freedoms that come with just internet connection and a laptop, but they're not always taken advantage of. And I think both those contexts is something that interns or people who are new to tech and new to like a career in tech don't always take advantage of. And I think that's something that I would encourage them to do, just to see how to use those contexts. Practically, what that means, I would say there's some things of, one thing is collaboration over competition. If you're coming from a boot camp, maybe you're trying to beat your friends or get a better mark than them. But in the space of a company, you're all trying to get something solved, a problem solved together. So yeah, don't compete with your future colleagues or your current colleagues, is one of them. Yeah, and to see that magic, I think definitely be curious and be open to a lot of different perspectives. Everyone in the company a company is not just made up of software developers. Everyone's got their role to play. It's important to understand how they add value to the company and how you add value to the company and how together things operate.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Nick. I love that. Collaboration over competition and be curious and open to different perspectives. I mean, I think we can all pretty much hang up our hats now and go home. Okay, cheers. Nice to see you guys. Bye-bye. No, I'm not going to do that. But that is gold. Just write that down and go remind yourself, stick that up on a post on your computer or on your wall. That's awesome. Thank you, Nick. I really appreciate it.
Awesome.
Well, with that, I'm going to just remind you to click that action link, Dale Carnegie Objectives, and you can fill that in if you haven't done already. But Sharon Russell is just one of the most energetic people I know. I met her about 7 years ago. It was extremely early in my tech career. It was my second tech job. And the first thing I did while after joining was to attend. This company sent me on Dale Carnegie training, and I was highly skeptical. I won't lie. I don't know if she knows this. I was highly skeptical at first, but I don't know. Week 6, week 7, something just clicked, and I just became a different person, and I almost became the person I am. I grew into myself, and yeah, my tech career really took off after that. Honestly speaking, so it's fantastic training, and since then I've been wanting to expose Sharon and Dale Carnegie to the tech community that I love so much. And this is just the highlight really of my career right now, is just to be able to welcome her and to listen to her speak to us. So Sharon, thank you so much, and take it away.
Oh, mustn't forget to unmute myself. Good evening, everybody. Well, 8 o'clock Thursday evening on the most rainiest day we've had this whole season. And so wonderful to be with you and Alex, and big thank you for inviting me to spend the evening with you guys. Okay, normally by this stage of the game, I'd probably be sitting down having a glass of wine and a movie, but tonight I'm spending my time with all of you. And hopefully after tonight's session, you'll be able to say, wow, that at least there's a lot that you'll be able to take home and really put into practice, because that's the whole idea of the program. Now, interesting, Alex shared with me the notes that all of you said what you would like to get out of the training or out of the session tonight. And Dominica, I hope I pronounced your name correctly. You said you never heard of it before. Chelsea, I can't see if she's online yet. She also said she's never heard of Dale Carnegie before. So tonight's my job to tell you a little bit more about that. And then, of course, when I look at all the other notes that came in, networking that needs to be done, to not have this imposter syndrome that you mentioned, and that people start talking about lately. And of course, the softer skills that Jason and Silent and Shamila and everyone's looking for. And then, of course, Skulk mentioned something, and he said hope. So that's the part I'm really keen to hear, Skulk, what you meant by what do you have hope for here? What hope are you looking for? And Waldo, you mentioned that you're going into a mentoring position, and that's going to be amazing for you, because these skills that we're going to focus on is exactly the kind of thing that we need to use to be a good mentor. And Kirsten, tonight I'm going to tell you the story why in Dale Carnegie's book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, he talks about men only at that point in time. So we can get clarity on that one for you as well. And so, yes, for our introverts, for our people who want to really just develop themselves, let's have a great session tonight. And so I'm going to start by sharing my screen and just give you a quick introduction, a little bit about what it is. But remember, tonight is your session, so you're going to be doing most of the work. So Dale Carnegie has been going for a long time. But our purpose tonight is we want to understand what are the traits of successful people. We want to look at some of the principles that come out of this book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. I'm going to share with you this transformational formula of why it's important to understand how do we actually transform, how do we grow, and then we're going to look whether this training would be right for you to take you to the next level within your career. And that's really the purpose of our session tonight. So here we go. So Dale Carnegie has been going for the last 112 years. In October 1912, they started Dale Carnegie. And a lot of things happened. You know, the ANC started in 1912 and the Titanic sank in 1912. And so Dale Carnegie started, and we're still going. We like that Mercedes-Benz. You know, when you think about the Mercedes-Benz when it was first made so many years ago, and how it's transformed and how it looks today. I mean, it is just such an amazing car. You see this little beautiful sports car riding around and everything. And so if it hadn't changed with time, it wouldn't be where it is today. And that's exactly the same with Dale Carnegie. So we've been going for 112 years, and you can imagine the experience we have behind us. We train in 25 different languages throughout the world. We've got offices globally. And we're one of the only training organizations that has ISO 9001 accreditation. And that accreditation holds our trainers accountable. So in other words, we're the only training organization that's held accountable by a third party to ensure that the trainees are at the right level. And so, yes, we have been all over, and there's millions of people that have participated in this training before. And so why then do we want to focus on participating in this training today? Because so many people of us look at, say, well, okay, what is success? How do we look at success, and how do we look at people that's successful? So as we go into this session tonight, we're going to look at three things. There's three things that we develop and grow in consistently in our entire life. The one is knowledge, the one is skill, and the one is attitude. Okay, those are the three things that we consistently grow and develop in our entire lives. So let's have a look a little bit about what are the traits that is important when it comes to an individual to be able to walk around and say, okay, you know what, I really feel that I've got the right skills that I can deliver, that I can share with an organization, that I can bring to an organization, that I'll be able to sell myself. So think about someone that you know, that you feel, wow, that is the kind of person that I look up to. And with the annotations here that you could use at the top, please write on this board for us, what are the skills or what are the personality traits that you feel that an individual needs to have to really, really get far in their careers? So any kinds of personality traits that you feel as strengths or traits, however you look at them, write them on the board for us, and let's have a look at how we look at them, or let's have a look at what comes up. So you use the annotation at the top here, and you can just write whatever you feel is the personality trait or quality that an individual must have to really, really bring to an organization and be successful. So you can take a few moments to do that. And yes, there we go. Okay. Patience, definitely have patience, openness, confidence, assertiveness. All right, let's have all of them. We've got lots of people on the line here, so we can at least have 70 personality traits or character traits written up here. So let's have them come in. Yes. I'm not exactly sure what SU is, but perhaps you can write that out for us if you don't mind. Have tact, wisdom, charisma, confidence, supportive. Yes, that helps a lot. Thank you. Okay, curiosity. Come, let's have some more as we go in. Communication skills, patience, confidence, diplomacy, confidence, empathy. Yes. Punctuality. That's very, very clear. We've got that. Wisdom, understand the stack. And if you talk about understand the stack, do you just want to write next to it what you mean by that, perhaps? Insightfulness, integrity, empathy, assertiveness. All right. Okay, Alex, there we go. Understand the stack. Because so I'm going to just stop sharing for a moment. And who wrote understand the stack? Can you just raise your hand so that we can just see?
That was me.
Oh, was it you? So what do you mean by that?
So any computer system is made up of various layers of technologies. And so I'm saying you have to understand each layer and how they fit in together.
All right, excellent. That makes a lot more sense. All right, so let's have a look at these character traits and strengths that we've written up there. As we said, there's 3 areas that we develop and grow in the whole time: attitude, skills, and knowledge. So when we go back to this slide, if you can quickly have a look and where are we? And on this slide, I hope it stays on. Hey, Alex, no, it disappears. All right, so we had a lot of skills on here, and I didn't know that it goes away. So, all right, so we were looking at a whole lot, and if you could please just quickly again, but at this stage, when you write it down this side, on the left-hand side here, write which ones you feel are skills, and on the right-hand side, write which ones are attitude, and at the bottom, you can write the knowledge, and that would where understanding the stack would go in, Alex. So try and split them up and see, okay, what is the skills and what is the attitude that you think people should have, and what knowledge comes into play when you want to be good at your game. There we go. So problem solving is definitely a type of skill to have. Charisma, yes. Attitude, integrity, problem solving, diplomacy, adaptiveness, adaptability, never giving up, empathy, clear communication, integrity. So, all right. So what else? Organized, industry, domain, interest in others. Okay, so as we write up these, we can see that all of these skills and attitude is where the big challenge lies. And those are the areas that we need to develop and grow in more and more and more. So when we look at the knowledge of our industry, I now understand what it means. You need to understand the programming, you have to have insight regarding that, and being able to organize your thoughts properly, which also falls under a skill. But the interesting thing about this is, as you look at this, they say 15% of our development and growth and our admission to the workplace is to do with our knowledge. But 85% is to do with our skills and attitude. And you can see how many of these character traits come up on the different sides when it comes to skills and attitude. So regarding the tech industry and being able to understand your world, I can teach you nothing about it. But regarding being able to be successful when it comes to having the right skills and attitude, that is what Dale Carnegie has been focusing on for the last 112 years. And today, it is more applicable than it has been since 1936, when he actually wrote the book and it was published, How to Win Friends and Influence People. In those days, the amount of people that they got into contact with, their entire lifetime, we get into contact with in less than a year. We get into contact with more than that in a year. And of course, that book that he wrote in 1936 was based on young men that he was training, because here comes your answer, Kristen, that those days it was just young men going in and becoming the careerists in the family. The women were at home. And so things had changed. And the interesting thing about how quickly that changed, in 1955, when Dale Carnegie died, his wife actually took the business globally. So already then it started showing, but of course the book has got so much power in, so whether it's a man or a woman's story, when we just apply these principles, that's what makes the difference. So again, looking at those three areas we can develop and grow in: skills, attitude, and knowledge. Knowledge is our admission ticket to the workplace. And the rest is what we must develop and grow continuously to get to the next level. So when it comes to the people skills and the communication skills and the leadership skills, it is important to look at the way some people have seen this training for themselves. So you think about someone like that, such as Warren Buffett. I mean, there he is. He is one of the most successful people that we know. And yet still till today, he says that this is the only degree that he really sees as a degree, having done this training. So how does this training actually work? First of all, the first thing we have to look at is our own attitude. Whether we want to get involved, whether we think we need to get involved, whether we think we can do it. And so sometimes, John, when we're very introvert, then we really sometimes feel, wow, I don't know if I can do this. And the challenge, of course, is there. That is when we lose it. If we do not overcome the motivation gap, that's when we fail. But when we can overcome the motivation gap, and that's when our subconscious says to us, all right, I will do this with you. You need to show me how. And so with everything that we do in life, our attitude comes to that. Whether we want to stop smoking, whether we want to lose weight, we want to go to gym and get fit, always it's the subconscious and the conscious mind that's playing this game against one another. And until we can get the conscious mind to agree to move forward, we are getting to that procrastination gap, that motivation gap, that we don't move forward. But once we say, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to try that, that's when we work together with our subconscious. In training, we always need to focus on gaining the knowledge. Now, knowledge today is easily acquired because we have to get the fundamentals, the concepts, and the principles. So we can go on a 2-day training program, or we can go on a 1-day training program. But if we don't have time to put it into practice, we still only have knowledge. And that's why we end up having what we call a knowledge trap. So some people go and they study a degree, and when they leave varsity, or when they've got their degree, then they go into a completely different field. So that knowledge becomes dormant in a way because they're not really putting it into practice. So what's important for us to change and to grow and to perform at a high level is to get the knowledge, to put it into practice, and then we start developing the new skills. And that's where we need to have the support and take the accountability and consistently ask for feedback in order for us to see that we're growing and developing in those areas. So we so often find that being able to start a conversation, being able to really make conversation with other people is the challenging part. Now, I really want to try and just get this right. It's the challenging part. So one of the things we're going to do tonight, and it's going to be very practical that we're going to do it, is we're going to focus on a tool that we're going to be able to start communication with. So we're going to use a technique tonight, which is called a stacking method. So we think in pictures. In our minds, we think in pictures. And so we're going to put these pictures and we're going to link them together. And we're going to develop what we call a conversation stack. And once we've got this under our belt, we're going to break up into groups, and you're going to meet up with somebody and you're going to use the conversation stack. So you're going to have to do this with me, all right? So it's quite creative. You got to use your body language, because if we use our body language, then our mind remembers things a lot easier. So you might think that we're a little bit crazy here tonight, but what the heck, we're just going to have a lot of fun. So use your body language, and you're going to do the actions as I do them and repeat the words. And if you're on silent, try and just say it in any case so that you can hear exactly. You need to get the whole little process in your mind in order for you to be able to use it when we break away into rooms. Is that okay? Have you got it? If you can just give me a thumbs up or something that I can see that you're all with me. And if you can put your cameras on, that's fantastic. And you can have a whole lot of fun with me. So because we think in pictures, we're going to stack these pictures together and we're going to link them with certain words. So I'll just explain to you when the link comes in. All right. And then you will remember the pictures. Okay. So right at the bottom of the stack is a name tag. That's the first item. So say it in there behind you on your own or whatever. Right at the bottom of the stack is a name tag. Come, Alex, you might as well just do the body language and show everybody what I mean to get involved, right? Okay.
Name tag.
That's it. Stuck in the name tag, that is your link. Stuck in the name tag is a big house. Okay. And in the house is a whole lot of family, and inside the family is a little boy playing. All right, got it. So right at the bottom of the stack is the name tag. Got it? Stuck in the name tag is a house. Running around in the house is a family and the little boy playing. And he gets hold of a work glove and he puts it on. And he grabs out, he looks out the window, and as he looks out, a Boeing's flying past and he grabs onto the wing of the Boeing. Okay, so let's go right from the bottom of the stack again. Okay, now I don't know if you're doing this with me or you're just staring at me and you think this woman's crazy or whatever it is, but it's for your own benefit to have a little bit of fun and see if you can get it going. All right, so right at the bottom of the stack is a name tag. Stuck in the name tag is a house. Running around in the house is a little boy playing and he's surrounded by his family. Okay. He gets hold of a work glove, puts it on. And he looks out the window and here comes this Boeing flying past and he grabs onto the wing. And as he looks on the left-hand side of the wing, there's a tennis racket stuck on it. And on the right-hand wing, there's a newspaper stuck into the wing. Okay, so let's do it one more time. So right at the bottom of the stack is a name tag. Stuck in the name tag is a house. Running around in the house is a little boy playing, surrounded by his family. He gets hold of a work glove and he puts it on. And as he looks out the window, here comes this Boeing flying past and he grabs onto the wing. And on the left wing, stuck in the wing is a tennis racket. And on the right-hand side of the wing, stuck in it is a newspaper. Okay, have you got it? All right, Josh, do you want to tell us? Have you got it? Unmute yourself. Let me hear. Have you got it, Josh?
I believe so. And
You believe so. Okay,
the tennis
good.
racket and a newspaper involved. And I know that a little boy grabbed onto the Boeing with his hand in a glove.
So you got to remember the whole stack as it goes, because that's what the memory, because we need to use this as a memory technique. Okay, we call it a stacking method or linking method. Okay, so you're going to practice it in a moment with the partner. Llewellyn, have you got it? Have you got it? Okay, and I saw you were very busy, Sakuza, so you got it. You were very busy practicing there.
Shireen, you're making us all blush.
Okay. So, all right. So, Alex, can you break everyone up into, I see we are 70 people, so we've got an equal number. So can you break us up into groups of 2? And then we're going to practice this. And I think keep yourself and myself out so that I can pop into the groups just to see. So what you're going to do when you're in your breakout rooms, you're going to practice the stack, okay? So that you can know what you're talking about. And just to give you a visual before you break us away, Alex, I just want to put this visual up just before you break away. It looks like this. Okay, this is the mind picture. We think in pictures, we make it exaggerate and we link it. Okay, so this is how we use our memory and improve our memory. So here's the stack. Right at the bottom is the name tag. Stuck in the name tag is a house with the little boy playing, surrounded by his family. He gets hold of a work glove and he puts it on. He sees the Boeing flying past and he grabs onto it. The left-hand side is a tennis racket of the swing. And on the right-hand side is a newspaper. Okay. Can you see that weird, funny thing? Okay. So Alex, break us away. You're going to be out for about 2 or 3 minutes just in your groups. Make sure to work with your partner, unmute yourself and quickly go through that stack. And then we'll bring you back. But make sure to get the whole picture, all the pictures in. All right. Got it?
That's true.
So, Sarah, how did you guys go?
Yeah, it went well. I think we both found it quite easy to remember the whole picture and the story. I did forget the work glove, but then as soon as I said the thing about the Boeing, I was like, oh, wait. So
yes, that's fantastic. Yeah. Oh, nice. I'm glad a lot of you can light up your cameras here for us a little bit. That makes it a lot more fun. Louis, how did you guys do?
Yeah, well, thank you. We had some extra participants join us at the end, and one managed to do it in 40 seconds. So that was good. A record,
Brilliant.
I think.
Yeah, wow, good. All right. Okay, so so just as a reminder, I'm going to put the screen up and then I'm going to show you what does it actually mean. And then we're going to put it into practice. Okay, so when we look at these pictures, we can see that we've done the stack. We said there's a name tag with a house, running around in the house is a family surrounded, a little boy surrounded by his family. He gets hold of a work glove, which he puts on. He grabs onto the wing of an airplane. On the left-hand side of the wing, there's a tennis racket. On the right-hand side is a newspaper. So what does it really all mean? So this is what we call a conversation stack. And it is so, so powerful. And you know, when you want to network, when you want to socialize a little bit, Jason, I remember you wrote about wanting to socialize. And when you want to really just to get to become interested in other people, this is the most amazing tool. So what is it, what it's all about? So first of all, the name is obviously a person's name to that person is the most important sound in any language. So it's important to get to know one another's names. Then the house is, where do you live? How long have you lived there? Some of you are from freezing Joburg at the moment. Some of us are in Cape Town. Okay, and then talk a little bit about family and friends. So I always say, be cautious about asking, so, oh, have you got children? Because, for instance, my sister's son died at a young age. So it's not a comfortable thing to say. So we've got to know how to ask the questions. But tell us a little bit about your family or your friends. Are they also around here? And then we can talk about work. And of course, work can continue for 5 minutes. What work do you do? Where do you work? What are your challenges? Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? And then comes the Boeing, and that represents travel. Do you enjoy travel? Where have you traveled? What is your next destination now that the travel ban has been lifted? Thank goodness. And then comes the tennis racket. What are your hobbies? What are the things that you like to do when you're not busy with work? And then, of course, the newspaper. What are the ideas or what are the current affairs that's currently taking place in the world? So it's extremely powerful when you don't even know somebody, how quickly you'll be able to have a conversation and then be able to get some common ground. And that's what we're going to do right now. So we're going to break you up into I quickly just want to see here for us, we're going to break you up into groups of 2. So Alex, do you want me to recreate it quickly? And then we can have a look how many people we have left.
Go for it.
So if we look at, we said we've got 54 people. So we need to have 22 groups, right? 21.
27.
Is it 27? Oh, I'm so glad somebody here is. Hey?
It's late.
That's good. You can do that. Okay, let's recreate them, yeah. And let's just quickly look down here. So Caroline, we need to get you into a group here. Okay, 26. Okay, you should all be in a room right now. Please, if you can, for the next few minutes. So what you're going to do, you're going to have a conversation. You're not going to have an interrogation. You're not going to say, oh, okay, you start and then I'll ask. You know, you must have a conversation and then you must end up with finding some common ground. So you're going to have 4 minutes. So you can ask any of those questions. Where are you from? Where do you like to travel? Go up to what are your interests? What are your hobbies? What do you think about the war in Ukraine at the moment? Anything. It doesn't have to go step by step. The only place where it must start is your name, because you want to be on first name terms when you do this. Okay. Before I break you into this room, who has a question? Okay, Dominica. Am I pronouncing your name correctly?
Yeah, Dominica. So it's not
Dominica.
Like, yeah,
yes,
still a little bit different from Dominic, I suppose.
Yes, now I can, yeah. Okay, so how did it go in your group?
Good. I had Rodwin. We were together for the initial thing as well. So we had already chatted because Rodwin just killed the freaking challenge about the house and the hand and whatever. He killed it. So we had time left over to shoot the shit. So no, it went good.
Oh, that's great. Good. And did you find some common ground?
Yes, we're both in Cape Town. We both love CSS. We had a big rant about how CSS is valid and good, and people are wrong about CSS. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay, Chad, how did it go on your side?
Okay, cool. On my side, I was in a room with Sabitha. I think we found quite some common ground. We really chatted about a lot. Basically where we are currently from. We are both in Johannesburg at the moment. He's from the Free State. I'm originally from the Northern Cape. And yeah, we talked a little bit about tech, where he's currently working, where I'm currently working. Overall, yes.
There were a lot of common ground.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, wonderful. Okay. Ryan, how did it go with you? Just unmute yourself, Ryan. Have you got it there? Difficult if I can't see the faces, then I'm just picking on a name here. Okay, well, seeing that I can see the faces, let's go with you, Caroline. How did it go with you guys?
Oh, it was great. I was with Nick Burtis. And I think our common ground is that we both love Ireland.
Ireland?
Yeah.
Wonderful. Yes.
We traveled there and I lived there. So yeah, we found some ground there. And he's was in Joburg and just moved to Cape Town, and I've just moved from Cape Town to Joburg, to Gauteng. Can't call it Joburg.
No, man.
Well, I'm on a farm. It's like it's lovely. It's fabulous.
Okay, then it's all right.
I'm out in Magaliesburg, so it's not exactly Joburg.
Nice. Yeah. I grew up in Krugersdorp, so you're on the verge of
there you go. We West Randers, hey? That's a whole other thing.
Well done. Good. So I would love to chat a little bit more, but because of our time, but can you see how quickly we can build common ground in about 4 minutes with somebody when we use the conversation stack? So let me tell you something. I've had many people come on my training that said, man, I'm now the best speaker when I go socializing or when I go out, I know how to start a conversation. I know how to have a conversation and making friends that way. Because the one principle about Dale Carnegie says, if you become genuinely interested in other people, that's when you start making friends. So just to go into a little bit more of the meat of our training, and I know we don't have a lot of time and we could go on for hours, but I want to share with you some of the most amazing foundation principles when it comes to human relations. Okay, so Dale Carnegie said many, many years ago that there's 5 drivers of success. And his research and the study has done it for us over the years. And it says building confidence, people skills, communication skills, leadership skills, controlling stress and worry, and focusing on our attitude. And these are the 5 drivers that takes us to the next level consistently. So within this book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, Dale Carnegie has, we've developed this little golden book. So if you go onto any app store and you go and look at the app store on your phone and you look for the Dale Carnegie Golden Book, you'll be able to download the app and you will be able to get all these human relation principles at your fingertips. And as we go through them, you'll say to yourself, wow, these are common sense. They are, but they're not commonly practiced. And the people that put this into practice is the ones that makes the difference. So when you look at this book and how we go through this training is to build, first of all, from the bottom to enhance relationships. Because if I can enhance relationships, then I can have a clearer understanding about how that people think and do. If I don't build rapport. And then there's just an indifference in relationships. Then people have this attitude, well, this is who I am, deal with it. And that's where the low emotional intelligence comes in. Because only when I am willing to work on all these areas in my life, and in myself, do I build a higher level of emotional intelligence. But I have to start with the foundation. And then I can only go up to the next set of human relation principles where we say, okay, gain cooperation. And that, of course, is exactly as Nick was saying earlier on, that's how we collaborate. That's how we work. But people won't collaborate with us if they don't already have a good relationship with us. And then how on earth can I collaborate to ask people to do things with me if I haven't got the ability to lead them to a level where they wouldn't go on their own? So as you can see, if we use these principles in the correct way, we build rapport and clear understanding of others, we learn how to influence people positively, and then we learn to lead. If we don't, we just have the complete opposite effect. And that's where the challenge lies, to consistently have that introspection to say, you know what, I really need to focus on these areas to develop and grow them. So there's 9 human relation principles when it comes to enhanced relationships. And I know that Alex has sent you the link of this, the descriptive human relation principles, right, Alex? Alex, are you there?
Yeah, it's in the Zoom chat.
Okay, so all right. But I'm just going to go through them quickly, just to give them to you. Normally, I would teach you this as well with the memory technique, but based on time, and I really wanted to break away in another groups in a little while. So just have a look at these human relation principles. So if we look at the first one that Dale Carnegie wrote about, he said, don't criticize, condemn, or complain. And the moment we stop doing that, that's when life starts changing around us. Our days become positive. Our outlook towards life becomes positive. Because it's so often that is the kind of thing that we focus on 90% of the time. If I had one spelling mistake on the screen, you'd probably have already picked it up, because I'm sure you've already read to the bottom of the screen. And then you would have said, oh, look at that one mistake. But never mind that there's 40 other words that might be on the screen that's spelled the right way. So often that's what we always look at. And we don't just criticize others or other people, we often criticize ourselves as well. And this is where we have a lack of self-confidence, because our self-esteem, our self-belief, and of course, where we spoke about this imposter syndrome. Sukiso and Owen, you both wrote about it. And that is where we're wrong, because we have work to be where we are. We've got to realize that this is what makes us. And now we're going to use all our skills to be able to show others that I'm there because I deserve to be here, I've worked to be here. And to get that self-talk out of our heads and to refill it with positive reaffirmations rather. The second principle they talk about is to give honest and sincere appreciation. People forget the power of voice, verbal appreciation. And then there's a principle arousing the other person an eager want, because people will only do what they want to do. And if I learn the ability to arouse in others an eager want, we get the job done. And principle number 4 says become genuinely interested in other people. And of course, genuinely is the value, and then become interested, not just superficially interested, but genuinely interested. And by using the conversation stack, I become genuinely interested in other people. And then the principle smile, because so many people are smile challenged, and we forget the power of our body language, that 55% of communication is our body language, how we come across, how our facial expressions are, how we smile. And the last 4 in this batch is to remember people's names, to be a good listener and encourage others to talk about themselves. Once again, to apply the conversation stack. Again, the conversation stack, talk in terms of other person's interest, asking them questions about themselves, and then making the other person feel important and doing it sincerely. Again, a value brought in here, not just superficially, oh, thanks, you did a good job, but genuinely being sincere and building on this individual. Because every time we work with other people, as Nick will tell you, as Alex will tell you, and many of you, and John, you, Waldo, you going into this mentoring process, every time we work with people, we work and affect their self-confidence, their self-belief, and their self-esteem. And they affect ours. And so we have to be aware of these things. And when we use these principles, that's when we become a powerful individual dealing well with individuals, dealing well with people, dealing well with our colleagues and our families and our friends and our sisters and our brothers in our social environment. And again, that's why what's his name now? The guy I showed you the clip just now. Now name's gone right. Thank you, Alex. That's why he said, of all the degrees, of all the things he had studied in his life, it's the only certificate that he puts up on his wall, because it was this certificate, that this training that gave him the ability to get to where he really was today, even though he was already a wealthy man. But the fear of doing certain things and reaching out and getting the right skills behind him was what was holding him back from being as dynamic as what he is today. So we have got, Alex, I just want to check with you on time. We don't really have time for a breakaway room, right?
Yeah, we do. It depends how much Q&A there is. I haven't actually been to the link, but yeah, it's between Q&A. Any time we use for breakout room is just time off Q&A basically. So that's up to you.
Okay, so I would like to suggest but Alex, can we break them up into bigger groups? So put 5 people in a group, and each person is going to look at these principles, and you're going to pick the one that's going to be the most challenging for you in the next week to apply, and that that will have a great impact on you. All right. So Alex, are you getting the group together there?
Yeah.
Okay, so you can put at least. And don't put yourself and myself in a group. All right, keep us out.
Okay, I'll do that. Okay,
and then go in, have a look. You've got the principles. Alex sent them to you in the link. Have a look at those first nine, and say to yourself, which one will be the most challenging for me to use this week? And tell one another why. And then we'll come back into the room, and I'll just give a little bit more of a wrap up about everything, and see how far we can still stretch our session. Okay, Jean-Claude. Is it Jean-Claude Van Damme? Hey?
Yeah, I've had that very often.
I can imagine, yeah. So tell me something. What's the one principle that's going to be challenging for you?
Well, yeah, so I was telling the other team members or roommates, let's say that.
Still here.
That being a software developer, by default, I'm very introverted. So I'm usually just focused on my own bubble. I'll even have headphones on when I'm in the office because I just want to focus on what I'm doing. So, yeah.
So which principle will be most challenging for you to use?
Number 4. So this is sort of caring about other people. Yeah.
To become genuinely interested. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Good. So Claude, pick a person this week and actually make an effort and take the earphones off and go and use the conversation stack, because that's the only way you're going to be able to get out of that level of being an introvert and to communicate clearer, as you wrote. You said you want to be able to get out of that. So try to use it slowly, one step at a time, putting it into practice. Okay. All right, Johan Maynard. Which principle is going to be the most challenging for you to use?
Sure. I've got 2 actually. When I start to focus on something, I stop smiling. So smile is definitely one, and then to be a good listener.
Okay.
I've always learned that you should listen to other people with intent, but it's really hard.
Well, listening is one of the skills that are never taught anywhere, not in universities, not in colleges, except at Dale Carnegie, because we hold one another accountable to learn to listen. And so it's quite amazing because of all the different listening levels that you get. Most of us do selective listening, and we just think we listen up to a point, and that's what makes it so challenging. So nice to set yourself that challenge. Try this week to do it a little bit more.
For sure.
Okay, Nick Craze.
Yeah, hi guys.
Hi.
I think probably one of my flaws is I'm always quick to introduce myself and get that part of the conversation out in the open, and then I kind of maybe breeze over someone else's name, and that kind of results in me having to either wait for someone else to direct or call out their name, so I can get that feedback again. Or yeah, it's just basically learning, just paying attention when I meet someone new, I guess.
Yeah, and never be afraid to ask them their name again, because that also shows interest. Because remembering people's names is one of the most challenging things. A lot of people don't do it at all because we're already thinking of responding rather than remembering. So really, really try to put that into practice. It says wonders about people that can remember others' names. Okay. So now we've got Sia. Not Sia M, the other Sia that just says Sia. Can you come off mute, Sia, and tell us how did it go with you?
Hi there.
Yes.
I was in the same group with Nick as well, so we're all gonna try working on listening skills and as well as getting to remember people's names, because that's something we struggle with.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Good. And I promise you, people respect you when you can remember their names. It really, really
For
makes
sure,
it.
for sure.
Okay. And last one on this question, Shalina. Nike. Yes,
Hi.
Shalina, tell us. Yes, how did it go?
Yes, that was great. I think.
And which principle are you going to be challenged to use this week?
I chose the first one, which is don't criticize, condemn, or complain. I think it's mainly the complain part that I might have trouble with, because my go-to with small talk generally with people at work is, we tend to complain about just general things, complain about the weather, about load shedding, about being tired, about workload. And that's generally how small talk goes. So I think that's going to be my challenge. I don't know what I'm going to talk about.
And of course, the interesting thing is, Shalina, that is the sad part, because then every conversation becomes negative, because people feed off one another. My challenge to everyone is always say, if you come across a negative person, don't walk away, run away, because you definitely don't want your mindset to go that way, because it just is just so horrible, because then the rest of the day just becomes a negative situation.
Yeah.
So, all right. So just for our last few minutes that we have together, let's just go back to the program here, and let's have a look at the next part. So we say that these are the 5 drivers of success, as I mentioned to you. So being able to build self-confidence helps us to think more creative. We can be able to focus on our growth and our own development, on how we want to do it, and really focus on being a lifelong learner. Self-confidence is an interesting thing, because you might be very confident in what you do, but you might not be confident in building outside relationships, or you might not be confident about dealing with a conflict, or all those kind of things. So self-confidence is a massive thing in our lives that we have to work on, and there's so many different areas that it can affect. Being able to strengthen people skills helps us to build strong relationships. It improves on how people see us as well, and how we deal with our family and our friends and our colleagues. And people who are nice are the people that we want to be around. And of course, most importantly, it helps us to take an introspection of ourselves and of others, and be able to see how we can reach out and work with people. Communication skills is interesting, because you get linear communication and you get interactive communication. So linear communication is what you deal with the whole day, getting your emails and everything else. But it's the interactive conversation that makes us so much more powerful, when we are able to listen well, when we are able to sell our ideas well, and get our messages across, and be able to communicate and articulate difficult things. As you mentioned, Shane, you want to be able to take this tech information and articulate it and get it across and be able to present with impact. And I'm just trying to remember now who said they were a business analyst and they wanted to be able to improve their presentation skills. Okay, Nicola, that you wanted to improve your presentation skills when it comes to being a business analyst. And then, of course, developing leadership skills. I mean, today we have to be able to work with everybody, embrace diversity and multi-generational. We're working with people from 20 to 60. And so it is important. And as a leader, what's wonderful is if we are able to take people to a level where they wouldn't go on their own, through our mentoring, through our coaching, through being able to work with them. And of course, most importantly, is to give people a fine reputation to live up to, that they want to look at you one day and say, this is the kind of manager and leader that I want to be when I get to that position. And the biggest challenge, I think, that most of us have had over the last 2 years is our stress and our attitude, because the last 2 years throughout the world has affected so many people. I mean, at one stage, the only conversation was COVID and how it's affecting people's attitude and how people are stressing out because of work and how they're not coping with things. So, I mean, today it was a great day. The fact that we have been told we don't have to wear masks. So it makes quite a big difference again. And it feels that we can start claiming ourselves back and having our attitude right again. So here is a testimonial from a software engineer that works for Microsoft. And he said after this training, he was actually able to speak with more confidence. He was able to be more passionate. And that word that Nick also used in the beginning, you've got to be passionate to be able to work with senior members of the team. And of course, he was able to really, really grow and develop his career a lot quicker. And I think that speaks for itself, because when you're in this field, because as John Claude said earlier on, because you're behind your screen and you put your earphones on and you do your own thing, so often we lose the ability to reach out and to see what is going to be the next way that I can develop and grow my career. So the most important thing to remember from tonight's training or tonight's session or the workshop is that our skills and our attitude counts for 85% of everything that we achieve. I would never apply to be a software engineer because I don't have the knowledge. So that 15%, that knowledge is my admission ticket to the workplace. And so what I do from there on is how I grow and develop as an individual and as a team member and part of the group. So always remember that if we can develop these areas consistently, that's when you will grow and develop in your careers. So the most powerful program in the world is this Dale Carnegie program that we have. And just before we're going to go into the question and answers, I just want to quickly tell you. So this program is very powerful because you start with an emotional change, that you feel it, and then you feel you've got to do it, which is your behavioral change. And then you get to your performance change. So when you think about, okay, if I've got more confidence, I'll be able to speak more clearly and concisely, I'll sell my ideas. So if I'm flexible, my behavior's got to change, means I'll step out of my comfort zone, I'll do more, and therefore I will have the ability to be able to manage change. And that's how powerful this process is within the program. And to be able to achieve this is easy because, you know, they say to be able to develop these skills is as easy a commodity to buy as what salt and pepper is. And Alex is there. He's told you already the success he's had. So this program runs for 8 weeks, 1 session a week. We're starting a new program here again in July and again in August. And so this is really the time to say to yourself, well, okay, this is this kind of thing that I want to do for myself. This is where I'm going to go. And these are the skills that I want to develop. So when you decide for yourself, when you have that attitude, then already you've moved out of your comfort zone and you're moving towards greater success. So as they say, these skills are common sense, but they're not commonly practiced, or the principles. And when I have them, then I'm able to show the skills that others are looking for in successful and good leaders and good team members. So look out, see, answer that sheet, see for yourself what will work for you, and step out of your comfort zones and let this new era of our lives begin after the last pandemic, and start off with a bang and make it work for yourself. Remember, as they say, if you want to make a change, you've got to make the change. You can't just talk about it. You actually have to get out there and do something about it. So that's what makes the difference. The people that get out there and actually do something about it. So we had a few questions that popped into our question box here. And so the one was, what do you do when you get stuck in introspection, impacting your confidence, or even listening to what others are saying? Kirsten, if you can just come off mute and you can just explain to us exactly what you mean by your question, please.
Okay, so my question is mostly related to introspection. So I didn't study in a field that is technical. I actually studied social work, and in part of the social work curriculum, we did analysis of yourself, because you're dealing with other people's psychological issues and that kind of stuff. So that is a skill that I've got in too much amount. So I always question my own behaviors, and I question my own decisions, and I question basically every interaction at the expense of my confidence, and sometimes at the expense of actually understanding the intent and communication of what people are saying. So I don't have the depth of listening that I would like, because I'm questioning myself and my understanding of what they're saying. Even if they're speaking English, it's not quite hitting the right mark.
Kirsten, you know, there's a wonderful guy I follow a lot on YouTube. His name's Sadhguru. And he always talks about, do you want a sharp mind? You know, people say, what kind of mind? Do you want a sharp mind or a blunt mind? And he says, and everyone always says, no, I want a sharp mind. He says, yeah, but remember what you do with a sharp knife. You cut things to pieces with a sharp knife. So sometimes, and this is exactly where you're sitting now, from what I can understand, you're cutting yourself to pieces. Forget about it. Believe in yourself, trust yourself, build your confidence, and stop looking at things that way. Because sometimes too much knowledge is what can break us down or hold us back. So it's great that you've got it and everything, but don't let it cut you to pieces. Believe in yourself, go out there, do things. And when you're subconscious, because you know that mindfulness, it comes in, oh, what, let it go. Don't suffer it. And just say, I'm busy with this now, and I'm going to do the best that I can do. And you'll start being able to believe in yourself in that way. Does that make sense? Yeah.
It's easier said than done, but yeah.
It is much easier said than done, but it's a conscious thing that must happen consistently the whole time. Because already that other stuff is so ingrained that that's happening as a subconscious.
Cool.
Okay. Sharon, Kirsten, we are desperately running out of time.
Yes.
So I think we have one more question to answer. And so the topmost voted question is from Michelin, is that how you say it? Michaelin?
Was it? You can just call me Mish.
Mish, okay, Mish. So he said, do you feel remote working makes teams more or less connected in terms of collaboration? That's a great question. What do you think?
Personally, it's more challenging because of the fact that we are not able to really read one another. We don't feed off one another's energy. And there's a wonderful thing about Simon Schneck as well, that he's got out there saying, you know, what this remote work has done for us as teams. And it's very difficult. So collaboration is fine if we do it this way, but do we become Facebook friends or WhatsApp friends, or are we actually connecting in the real world? So it has created quite a bit of a challenge in today's day and age.